listening to the Today's Mama podcast with your host, Rachael Erin. Welcome to this week's edition of the Today's Mama podcast. A few reminders before we get going. We've got thousands of dollars up for grabs on todaysmama.com right now. We've even got a Traeger grill, a Yeti cooler, Amazon gift cards, all for you and the man in your life that you've got to harass about his healthcare. This stash is brought to you by the Prolaris test. 1 in 9 men will get a prostate cancer diagnosis in his life. And this little test can measure the aggressiveness of the cancer, and that can change the treatment plan. So be sure to head over to todaysmama.com to learn a little bit more about that. And of course, to enter for thousands of dollars. Also on todaysmama.com this week, we've got lots of TV and movie news. The new Captain Marvel trailer is up on the site, as well as the official Mary Poppins movie trailer, which we are so excited for. Blue's Clues is back with a new host handpicked by Steve, and we've got pictures and, of course, some commentary from our friend of the show and our very first episode interviewee, Angela Santamero, the woman who created Blue's Clues. We've also got the dirt on the upcoming season of Modern Family, and there's a massive upset coming, and we're not happy. So head over to todaysmama.com to catch up on all that news, and of course, to enter for your thousands of dollars. We're bringing it in today. We're bringing it home. It's time for you to meet some of our team over here at Today's Mama, specifically Erin. She is the yin to my yang, the brunette to my blonde, the voice of reason to my inner 8th grader. I present to you Miss Erin Caserio.
Nothing has ever explained me more accurately than the voice of reason to your inner 8th grader.
Welcome to the show.
Pleased to be here, Rachael Erin. Thank you for having me.
Now, I stole Erin away from a radio station, little back office, decades ago. Well, maybe just over 1 decade ago, and she can't get rid of me.
Nope. I didn't realize this job came with an actual family member.
Yeah, we are now sister wives, is I think what we would say.
Mm-hmm, pretty much.
So before we go any further, though, because, we'll let the listeners get to know you a little bit here on air, but we do... I don't know if I can do this with you. This is awkward. You know what I'm saying?
I know.
Our relationship's at a different level. But before we go further, we need to know what your ratatouille is, because we ask every single person who comes on this glorious show of ours what their ratatouille is. And while you think for a second, I'll just prep any first-time listeners. We always put a link to the video from Ratatouille in the show notes so you can watch the clip and get a true feel for what we're talking about. But basically it is, what is the smell or the taste or the remembrance of your childhood?
Oh my gosh. So it's funny that we're talking about Christmas shopping and Christmas presents and gift giving today, because I've listened to the Today's Mama podcast, every single episode, multiple times.
Because it's her job.
Because it's my job. It actually pays my mortgage. But my ratatouille is actually more of it's a sight and a sound and kind of a part of a season, because when I grew up, my mom worked in grocery stores. When I was a teenager, she was in corporate offices and she had moved out of the grocery store. But when I was little, my mom worked in the grocery stores. And that was also back in the day when you never saw a Christmas decoration. You didn't see a candy cane. You didn't see any of the kind of painted store windows until Black Friday. Stores went from nothing.
Those were the days.
And then it was Thanksgiving. And then if you went to, say, the grocery store or the mall on the day after Thanksgiving, all of a sudden it was here you go. Oh, and it's it was all of that kind of those tinselly garlands that were wrapped around everything. And it was, again, I'm making it sound like it was ancient times, but I mean, people would paint the big grocery store windows with the big happy holidays and seasons greetings. And so for me, one of the things that immediately takes me back to childhood is grocery stores. It's not all stores. It's that kind of grocery store experience where they have the big bins of the holiday M&Ms and the holiday Hershey Kisses and things like that, because that was what meant boom, the holiday season. And the holiday season used to only be this really short period of time. So for me, it's super, super nostalgic when I go into the grocery store and it's decked out for Christmas, because it just makes me feel just totally being, 8 years old and, getting to kind of go through the grocery store with my mom.
You want to know what is nostalgic for me about grocery stores is coloring contests on the back of grocery store bags.
Yes!
I used to participate all the time.
Yeah.
And I like never won.
No.
Still super mad. But like when I see that they're running a contest, but now they just hand it out on a flyer. It used to be printed on the back of the grocery bag, right?
Yep.
And you'd go home and you'd like perfect that thing and take it back in.
Oh yeah, and they'd hang them all up the front end of the grocery store.
Yeah. Bring that back, guys. Bring it back. All right, so you mentioned we're going to talk about the holidays.
Yeah.
You and I, we have some things we'd like to address as we move into these clutch holiday-filled months. This is like our PSA to the world. We want you to love your holidays, and we feel like we've gained some experience since, as you can tell by when Erin saw grocery decor in the stores as a kid, that we are sage in our years.
We use a night cream. It's fine.
I use a CC and a BB and a night cream and all the things. Just kidding. I just barely bought a CC cream, and I had to tell the girl, like, dude, tell me like what this is, what it does. I think that means something like color correction.
You're talking to the wrong person. This is don't bring me on the podcast and ask me things about makeup. Like, you're barking up the way wrong tree. Ask me about things like bacon.
My bad. I'm the wrong person to bring them up. But anyway, back to what we're talking about. So we are pros at the holidays in the sense that we are pros at scaling back and getting real. So Erin Casario, are you ready for this?
Let's do this. I was born ready.
All right. So first of all, why now? Why are we bringing this up in September?
We're bringing this up in September because I jokingly tossed out in one of our, I don't know, many phone calls that happen every single day that I had found your Christmas present. I found it. It's in my cart on the interwebs. And you kind of busted my chops for the fact that it was early September and I was already doing Christmas shopping.
It was admiration. I wasn't totally busting your chops.
That's right. It was admiration with a hint of chop busting. But here's the thing. If I want to be good at giving gifts, or if I'm in the mode where I'm sort of have the opportunity to think about it, right now, I could give you 3 or 4 really fantastic gift ideas for all of the people that are on my gift list right now. But something happens to my brain when the holidays actually approach and it becomes like December. And all of those great ideas disappear from my brain. And I give everyone on my list, regardless of like gender or age, I don't know, Bath and Body Works, candy cane foam soap. Merry Christmas, Dad. That's what happens to me. All those good, fun, creative ideas, all those memories of the things you like to do, you know, in the warm weather or summer, or what are your interests? They just are wiped from my brain, I think, from the sheer madness of all the things that we keep kind of juggling during the holidays with school and extracurriculars and gifts and family events. I just kind of tap out mentally. So if I'm not thinking about it now, I kind of miss the boat a little bit.
So I have been known to order a gift card or 2 on Christmas Eve, especially if I can print them straight out of my computer. I have done a couple like 2 a.m. print a gift. Trying to avoid it.
And I support you. Like, that's the magic of the internet. But truly, like, that's the tricky part of gift giving. And also, you and I have mulled over for many years this idea of trying to instill what are the things that we really want our kids to know? What do we really want them to value? And part of the Christmas gift giving holiday season really kind of brings that to the forefront when you think about, oh, did we do too much? I mean, part of why we've gotten really good at this, you and I, is because we've been pretty terrible at it in years past.
I've always been killing it. I don't know about you.
Oh, really? Yeah.
I have a post that I wrote on Today's Mama, and I wrote it a couple days after Christmas because I go through this thought process every year and then I don't think about it ever again until December 26th of the next year. So it's called like 3 things that I tell myself every year after Christmas. And there were 3 bullets that I put in there. One was to scale back, which is what we're about to talk about, both from a quality and quantity perspective. The other is to slow down. And then the third thing is just to embrace my stretchy pants, just to accept them, to give myself some new ones before the season starts, and just avoid buttons because I start with good intentions and that gets me nowhere. So let's start with scale back, this kind of perception of quality over quantity, but also this thing we've been talking about for a while and which both of us have been doing to some extent is giving the gift of experiences. So
Mhm.
by the time Santa comes, by the time they get their parent gifts, their grandparent gifts, their cousins, all the things,
Holy
I'm
moly.
looking at my kids like they are the most spoiled people on the face of planet Earth.
Yeah. And sometimes they act that way. I'm not talking about your kids. I'm not judging your three morsels of wonderfulness. I'm saying like there have been some moments in years past where I've looked around at the end of the day and thought, what on earth is what just happened?
Yeah, you don't get one more thing for 50 more years. That's what I feel like saying.
And they're like, Mommy, what did you get? And I'm like, I got some like shampoo and some toothbrush.
Socks? Yeah. So what I did last year to combat this situation is I wanted less electronics, less distractions, less volume under the tree, but I still wanted some things to be fun and to have the excitement level. And sometimes I feel that with Christmas, like presentation goes miles.
Yep.
So I decided each of my kids were going to get one kind of core experience, but that all the other gifts that I gave, I was trying to give stuff that they actually had to do something with or have an experience with. For instance, for my oldest, I got him his very first concert tickets. So it was a Killers concert, and it was, of course, my husband and I win because we get to go too. And it was the Killers, which is like our favorite band as a family. But from a presentation perspective, it's kind of boring to hand somebody tickets, right? Like in a little envelope.
Or you may not even have the tickets at that moment.
Yeah. For anybody who has played like what's it called? It's like a saran wrap game. I think it has a real name. Erin, do you know the name of it?
I don't know. I don't saran wrap ball game.
It's like a holiday party game. First of all, if you need a game for a party.
And clearly we get invited to a lot of them since neither one of us know what it's called.
You get like the big ball of saran wrap, and as you start wrapping, you wrap candy or little toys or dollar bills or whatever. And you just layer that thing huge. And in every layer, you've got something tucked in there. And then you roll the dice. You get a 7 or 11, and you get to unwrap until somebody else gets a 7 or an 11. And then you get every prize that's in there. Have you never played this?
I've never played this.
I clearly need to start inviting you to our New Year's party.
I'm going to all the wrong parties, apparently.
I'm a jerk. Do you open invitation? So I took that same concept and I applied it to my experience giving. So at the center of that saran wrap ball was those Killers tickets. And then as he got to the center, I needed hints, right?
Did you put pictures of Killers?
I did order a little, I thought it was bigger. It came in, it was like a scroll of the Killers. It really was weird. I don't know what their marketing team was thinking. Brandon, get on that.
Get it together.
So there was, the tickets, then a bunch of saran wrap, and then there was a picture of the band. And then the outmost layer was earplugs, right? To protect his wee little ears from that concert.
Yeah.
Not only was it like a decent sized gift, because again, presentation matters, but then you have this excitement of trying to figure out, well, what's in the middle of this? And I have these clues coming at me. And then at the center is something that we can all go do together.
And how was it?
Dude, they loved it. They were freaking out. And really, it feels like a big gift, right? Like kind of one of their central gifts.
Yeah.
So the other things I did for my middle one, she had been talking about how she wanted to try one of those float spas. And so part of the gift is that it's also a date for them with like their dad and I. So it's one-on-one time, and that's a piece of it. So at the center, I have the gift certificates to do the float spa all together. Not in the same float spa. Erin, have you done a float spa before?
No, because I would lose my marbles in a float spa.
Why don't you describe to our listenership what the float spa is from your perception?
Holy black terror. I don't know. I mean, it's like one of those sensory deprivation, like you float in the pod. And so you're supposed to you're not supposed to be able to see, or you're like weightless.
It's amazing.
I would lose it completely. Do not give me that experience. Don't give me that for Christmas.
That's what you're getting for Christmas. And then I'll request that we can maybe go in the same pod. Would that be cool? Just kidding. That'd be awkward because you kind of want a starfish in there and you're naked. So maybe not together.
Oh my gosh.
So I originally came upon one of these when I went with a couple of college friends to a Coldplay concert in Portland. And Portland, of course, is this quirky city that it is. So we walk up to this float spot and done, guys, make our appointments. Let's go in. So it's basically this pod, and it's so full of Epsom salts, is at least what I think it is, which is also packed with magnesium. That's good for your body.
Yeah.
That you float naturally. And then the pod closes over you, and you can either have kind of this twilight setting, or you can go total lights out, and you've got earplugs in. So it's kind of soundproof too. And so it is sensory deprivation, but you can make a couple adjustments to not be totally like you could do it with the Twilight lights. You'd be fine.
And when you emerged, you felt just like a new woman?
I felt amazing. It took a minute. Like when I first went in, it was weird because I carry a lot of tension in my shoulders. So the point is for your body to let go of like all its tension, right? And so even though I was like weightless in the water, my muscles in my neck were still holding on. And I felt it more like intensely, and it took a while. And then finally those relaxed, and I don't know, it was awesome. My daughter's gift was these float spa, and then wrapped up in her big saran wrap ball of joy was some Epsom salts and then some sea salt chocolates.
Oh,
right. So she loved that. And then my youngest is obsessed with penguins and she wants to be a zookeeper. And so her center experience at the center of the cellophane ball was with our local aquarium that she could go do a penguin encounter. And then I wrapped around the second layer was like the cutest stuffed penguin.
yes.
What are those stuffed animals that you love, Erin?
Oh, the jelly cat.
rolls.
Yeah.
Jelly cats.
Love them.
Somebody Google the jelly cat penguin because it's probably the cutest stuffed animal
They're so
ever made.
cute.
So that's in there, and she named him Kimchi, and he's a little beat up by now, but because he goes with her everywhere. But so he was a hit. And then I had Swedish fish in the third layer. It's like the gift that keeps on giving because we've been kind of doing these experiences staggered through the year. So there's the excitement on Christmas Day and then the experience that you have and that you have it together, which has been fantastic.
Last year, my mom did something and she didn't actually tie it to Christmas. She just ended up doing it, but it was a subscription for my kids for National Geographic magazine. And what I love about that is that every month when the magazine comes and the kids pull it out of the mailbox, they re-chatter about like, oh, grandma bought this and it's so nice of her to do this and we really love it. And it's this additional, once a month, it's like the grandma cheering squad at the mailbox because that gift has kind of cycled back around. And that's really fun to see.
Yeah. And you know what? I think last year I did take a note from you on that because another gift I gave my kids last year was they all got a magazine subscription. So like my youngest got like Ranger Rick.
Those are the best.
She also has an American Girl doll magazine, which is actually so fantastic. So again, it's a gift in the mail like every month, right?
Yeah.
And then my middle got HGTV because she's obsessed. And then my oldest got like a soccer magazine.
Yeah.
But I'm with you. I think those magazine subscriptions are so good. And it does a number of things. It makes them a better reader, right?
Yeah.
Gives them something hands-on to do. And it's something that pops up in the mail, physical, that they touch, every month or every other month.
You're listening to the Today's Mama podcast with your host, Rachael Erin. We'll be back right after this.
One in 9 men will be diagnosed with prostate cancer during his lifetime. Chances are you might know and love someone who has had or will get a diagnosis. Prostate cancer is the second leading cause of death among men. You may wonder why we're talking to you, the one without a prostate. It's because, Mom, you have so many titles, perhaps the most important of which is CMO, Chief Medical Officer of your household. You're stocking the medicine cabinet, dragging out the humidifier, reminding kids, don't scratch that, throwing a quick multivitamin at anyone you can, and harassing your loved ones to go to the doctor. So we know sometimes it takes a bribe. So we're bribing both of you. You and the man in your life. We've got a $2,000 grand prize up for grabs. $1,000 for you and $1,000 for that man that you have to keep reminding to be mindful of his health. So head over to todaysmama.com to enter to win and learn a little bit more.
And now back to the Today's Mama podcast with your host, Rachael Erin.
Now, if you were going to give your kids experiences this year, what would you give them?
Well, and this is the interesting, I think, about, like, I'm using air quotes, experiences, because I think sometimes people feel like that sounds kind of like a downer because I do still want to give something, or maybe there is something that you want to give and you feel like you're kind of tripped up by this whole idea of giving experiences over things. One of the ideas that I have for my kids this year is an inflatable paddleboard. We've been going with friends and we go up to the lake and we have a blast and they absolutely love it. And the idea of us having one would open up our opportunities to go and do that so much more. And so that is a thing that is also an experience. And so that's something that I'm pretty excited about. But also in the past, my dad gave my daughter cooking classes, and it was a series of 3 cooking classes, and she was thrilled. It was something that she was super excited about. And so she got to go do that. And it was really sweet because he met us, like, rather than just, oh, here's your gift certificate and here's where you go. It was at Harmon's grocery store that was between our 2 houses. And so she was still little enough. She was 8. That was a little young to just be sort of dropped off at the grocery store. So he and I stayed and had a cup of hot chocolate while we waited and kind of watched her in the classroom. And so she got to see her grandpa each time she went, and it went over the course of a few weeks. So that was really fun. One of the ideas that I had for this Christmas was, my kids and I really like going to the movies together. We go pretty consistently, but it's still something that's really exciting for them. But I'm a bit stingy when it comes to the refreshments. I'm not going to lie. Like, for just a lot of reasons, I'm stingy about the refreshments.
Yeah, because they're so overpriced. Come on.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't need many more reasons than that.
Yeah, right. But it's like the refreshments are a big element for the kids. And so one of the ideas that I had going into this holiday season was to put sort of...
Hold on. Can we take a time out and talk about when we went to the Twilight movie together? And I was pregnant.
Oh my God.
And here's the thing. I talked about Twilight on this last episode with Allie Edwards. And so I'm bringing it up like I'm obsessed. I haven't seen it for years. Okay, guys? So it's like, settle down.
I don't know. I'm starting to doubt that, because it's like you're working it in each and every opportunity.
Well, I kind of
We've
feel
seen
like
so many movies other than Twilight, and you're cruising back like how many years?
Well, I kind of want to have a revival. I think that's what Allie sparked for me, is that it's time to have a revival.
Oh my gosh.
But you smuggled in the treats, right? And because you've always got like a Mary Poppins bag full of all the things.
Oh yeah.
And I'm pregnant, and you just start feeding me the Reese's trees.
I mean, there are perks to being my friend. I'm not going to lie. Like, I will hook you up. I will use my Mary Poppins bag powers for good and to deliver large quantities of your favorite snacks.
Yeah, she's like a Boy Scout, and Mary Poppins got married and made Erin. Everybody should know that Erin is 6 feet tall. And how is your mom 6 feet, or is she taller than you?
She's taller than I am. Yeah.
Yeah. Just Amazonian supermodels. Nothing they can do about it. Okay. Sorry. Back to your movie. You like to take your kids to the movies, but the snacks are too much.
I'm what I would call snack reluctant. But one of the ideas I had for this Christmas is to put together this movie package. Because again, kids do not get excited about a gift card. So sometimes it's like your saran wrap ball. It's the idea of how do you package it up to make it exciting for them. So if you're dealing with smaller, younger kids and something that maybe is a little more repetitive, like going to see the movies, the idea that I had was putting together a movie a month gift, going to the level that will help a little kid understand, and go find out what the movies are coming out next year. And go, print out small images of the movie poster so they know that in January we're going to go see this movie, and in February we're going to see this movie, and make it up, kind of a fund, a gift certificate for you. You get popcorn and a drink and your treat. And that way they know we're going to do this once a month for the whole year together, and it's a special thing and they can look forward to it. Because that's the trick, right? You say experience, like, maybe it's a season pass to the local amusement park. And that's really exciting when it's time to go to the amusement park and the amusement park is open in June. That's really hard for a 7-year-old to wrap their mind around when it is December and that is 6 months away. I mean, little kids with no sense of time, you sort of need to change up this whole concept of experiences versus things. They may need a more immediate experience. When my dad gave my daughter the cooking classes, the first cooking class was on, I think, like the 28th of December. So she received the gift and then she went immediately to the first class a few days later. So I think some of those are kind of a factor for kids. I also really like the subscription. There's so many fun subscription boxes. They have ones for STEM and coding and all those things. But then there's even like have you heard of the Pip Sticks? You get like a package of stickers every month. Fun little package of stickers.
Cute. Like, are kids still collecting stickers? Is that a thing?
They're going to.
It's coming back.
But you can also set up some of your interests, so if you want to set them up for, maybe a little boy who's more into things like animals or dinosaurs or things like that. And you've got a girl that wants, all things glitter and rainbows. Those are some of those fun kind of repetitive things. And what I found too is that if you're looking at some of these experiences or some of these subscription boxes, like those are some of the ideas that I will also toss out to like my parents, for example, because my mom loves the idea of having there be something that's going to come every month or every quarter that will remind the kids and be fun.
Yeah.
So those are some of the ideas that I had. But I also am the person that thinks of experiences, again, air quotes, experiences. Experience are things that can be, in my mind, kind of used up or enjoyed. And so I was always the person that was super pumped about my kids getting Play-Doh and letting them use it and mix it and just go crazy with it. Because to me, that is that experience of, can you play? Can you use it up? Can you cover the entire dining room table in perler beads and make a million things? But that's kind of how my kids are. My kids will sit at a dining room table for 3 hours and make you dozens and dozens of little like perler bead creations. And so depending on the age you're talking about.
I am really anti perler bead because at my house, those beads just end up everywhere. We've never executed a full like beaded pattern. They just go everywhere. That, and when people give us like necklace kits for my girls, like make your own necklaces, like those beads, it's just, I'm still finding beads in my carpet from probably like 5 years ago is my guess.
See, and my kids are the ones who will get those things and they will use that up, and they will make all the necklaces, and they will make all the keychains, and they will make all the bracelets, and I don't have anything to step on, pick up, dust, deal with. Boom. I'm thrilled.
Aren't your kids so special? JK. Look, it's so fun because like I can kind of like give you a hard time as our guest on the show, and it's cool.
You don't usually get to like harass our guests. You sort of have to be well behaved, and you get to just be like,
I know.
Hey, I will be honest though, I'm fully one of those people that's willing to embrace the mess in the midst of it. The reason my kids execute on perler beads is because there have been, 36 to 48 hour windows where my whole dining room has been covered in perlers, and I have a wood floor, and there's just a certain point where
Okay, but tell everybody what perler beads are, because I think you're the only person I've ever met who's called them perler beads.
What do you call them?
I didn't call them like beads.
I'm pretty sure the package says perler. I mean,
does it?
I couldn't have made this up. That's not what I would have gravitated towards.
Googling it while we talk. Okay.
So perler beads are the little hard plastic, really small, round beads that you put on a like pegboard to make certain designs, and then you.
Okay, I guess they're officially called perler beads. I just Googled it. There's like a billion results for perler beads.
Anyway, I'm not afraid of the mess. But then I'm the person that will just come through 2 or 3 days later and will like shop vac it all up or sweep it all up and put it all away.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I'm not so anti. I would let them participate. Because
I think you do have to think about experiences in a more broad way when you're talking about littler kids, because you can't, a 7-year-old is not necessarily, at least my 7-year-old is not going to think concert tickets are nearly as exciting as the Millennium Falcon Lego set that he would just.
Yeah. And let's not leave Legos off the experience list. I mean, we have got our eyes on a Quidditch pitch right now. The Harry Potter collection looks amazing. Yep. I don't want to blow my whole Christmas stash of money on the big giant Hogwarts castle that's $1,000.
Wow, that is a lot.
Lego, if you're listening, I'll send my address. I'll review it. It has like 60,000 pieces or something.
I have a kid that would legitimately finish that though. I mean, not that I'm going to go toss out $1,000 on Legos, but we have that kind of Lego commitment at my house. I don't actually have a coffee table. I have a Lego table in my living room.
Well, so our big PSA, our big point is, as we ramble on about all the things that we think are cool, is that start thinking now about the gifts that you want to give, and start thinking about things that you can do together, whether it's an experience outside your home or whether that's the game or the Legos or the crafts and beads or whatever it is that you do inside the walls of your home. But to look at your gifts from, both those perspectives is, yes, is it fun? But also, are we spending time together? And we think those gifts are the gifts that keep on giving.
Right.
Now, I also have to say that one-on-one time element that we included with our kids was huge. And really, we still laugh. My husband probably loved the penguin encounter more than anybody. And he said, I went in there and I didn't think those little penguins would steal my heart. we die laughing. He now has a picture of the penguins as his screensaver on his phone. He wants to go back. Yeah. I'm probably giving him the penguin encounter.
Stop it.
Part 2. Because he remembers their names. He looks at the picture. He's just like, oh, look at Uno. He's so funny.
Oh my gosh. Well, see, that's a sign of a good gift is the stuff that they're still talking about. If you've got a kid that references, either the thing that you do or the activity or the place that you go or the gift that they received. Like those are those signals to pick up on. That is why I have a secret Pinterest board of, my holiday gift ideas, because kids in the thick of the holidays, and if you're just wandering the aisles looking for gift ideas, it's so hard. And I just think it just gets away from you. There's a marketing machine out there that's designed to make you buy more and think you're getting great deals. And so stepping back right now and trying to think about, like, what is your intention for the holiday season? What do you want to get out of it? And how do you really want to create those connections? Because the things that, it's like talking about our ratatouille, the things that we remember from our own holidays or our own childhoods. Yeah, of course there's some toys in there. Of course there's the memories of the Christmas that I got, the My Little Pony like ranch and barn. And that was amazing. But also woven in so much more is the time that I spent and going and driving around and looking at the Christmas lights and spending time with my mom when she worked in the grocery store and, having unlimited access to candy canes. Like thinking about what you want your kids to retain, what kind of memories, what do you want them to remember? Do you want them to know how to make grandma's cookies? Do you want them to remember how, magical it is to go find all of the Christmas lights and drive around, or having hot cocoa after school? Because those are the things that you can build on throughout the holiday season. And it doesn't have to just be all about what's under the Christmas tree, but thinking about it now and thinking about it with your spouse or your family or the extended family. Is there a way? Because I think an important question to ask yourself, are you trying to address a clutter issue? I mean, because that's a legitimate reason that some people come at this, is the idea of there's no more room for any more stuff in this house. Like, I don't want any more stuff, just from a stuff standpoint.
And, I think some people worry about if there is less under my tree, that feels like an anticlimactic reveal, right? And I also think there's ways around that.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite things is using balloons. I'm not this crafty, right? This maybe sounds like over the top, but like you can fill a space with some red and green balloons or whatever that kind of fill around the tree or whatever. If you feel like, okay, we got these smaller gifts, think of stuff like that you can kind of anchor around it to still make you feel like you have that like reveal excitement moment, even if there's some smaller and fewer things there under the tree. And that's still just adds to like the visual element of it.
That's a cool idea.
It's like so much easier when your kids are 2 years old and you can buy like the giant bear for, next to nothing on sale, or, all those things that took up so much more space that were a whole lot cheaper. So yeah, that's what I'm finding with older kids too. It's just like, okay, yeah, it's still a lot of stuff, but it like takes up way less space.
Yeah. There's a lot of expense there, not relative to the amount of space that, a bike takes up. That's a big visual. I mean, we've given bikes for Christmas, and you can, a little kid's bike, is nowhere near the cost of some of the, razzle dazzle electronics that teens want, but it makes such a huge impression to like, because I'm the person that will wrap a bike.
Dude. And they're like, a bike.
I mean, not well.
I knew it. Well, so here's the deal. Think about the stuff your kids are the most passionate about and what kind of experiences you can find out there. Odds are you can find different experiences at the museums and the zoos and the aquariums in your community. If you've got a kid who's passionate about a certain sport, there's an app that we use here called Coach Up, where you can sign up. We have an MLS team. And so my son loves soccer. So something I've thought about is the fact that, I could buy him an hour with an MLS player.
Dude.
Or like there's a bunch of physical therapy type clinics who do like a kicking clinic, or, there's so many different things. If you can match up what they love the most, find a professional, get out of the box, just call and be like, hey, what kinds of stuff can kids do to come and see you? I found out we could go feed giraffes this year. So there's kind of an endless supply if you just start thinking, what do they love? You got your daughter cooking classes. There's so many of those opportunities in people's communities. So start with what they love, find ways to build experiences around that. And then to me, really the best part is when you find stuff that you can do together and when they get that one-on-one time or that family time with that experience. And the penguins named Uno.
One-on-one time and a new penguin friend. I mean, everyone wins. There is no loser in that scenario.
There's not. And I'm going to put a picture of the penguins up in the show notes because you know what? They'll steal your heart too. You will not be able to walk away. Okay. You'll be flying out here and being like, Rachel, go
show me the penguins.
Yep. And I will. That's all for us for now. We will be back when we have another PSA for you, our dedicated listenership. Erin, any parting words from you?
My short parting PSA would be, take this idea and apply it to the other people who you buy gifts for. Because let's be honest, adults like experiences too. Like there's probably somebody on your to shop for list that would also maybe enjoy a cooking class or a round of golf or a concert.
Or a visit to the spa.
Or a visit to the spa. Remember when we went snowshoeing? Hello, magical.
Girls' day out, come to where it snows. We went snowshoeing up a little bit outside of Park City, up in a place we call Heber. I'll actually put a link because we did a post about our day out, and we did paddleboard stand-up yoga inside a crater.
A thermal crater. It was so fun. We were terrible at it.
I fell off so many times.
We inhaled more thermal, crater water than we.
But again, I think it was good for me. I think it upped my magnesium levels. Super concerned about that.
Bring it all on back.
Erin, excellent point. Do it with your friends. So make sure you check the show notes. We will have links to everything we talked about. And a reminder to those of you who don't know what the show notes are, as I've had a few people tell me they don't. They are available at todaysmama.com/podcast. They may look like a blog post to you because every episode that we do has a post that goes with it, and the show notes are included there. And that's where we'll include links to products we talked about, anything you might be wanting more information on, photos, like if you're looking for Uno the penguin, you can find him there in the show notes at todaysmama.com/podcast. This is not the last you've heard from Erin Casario on the Today's Mama podcast, so brace yourselves.
More to come.
Thanks as always for listening. Remember, you can subscribe to the podcast at todaysmama.com/podcast. You can also find the show notes there, those show notes I keep talking about. And I promise I'll have pictures of Uno the penguin, the lowdown on snowshoeing and paddleboarding in a crater in Heber in Park City. And most importantly, I'll include a link to a conversation over on todaysmama.com where you can go and comment and tell us your unique Christmas gifting ideas. We know it's September, but we've got to plan in advance and we need your brilliance too. So pretty please go leave us a comment and tell us your best gift ideas, or better yet, tell us about the best gift you ever received. Now, if you are loving the podcast, be sure to rate it and give us all the stars. And we will be back soon with more good stuff on the Today's Mama podcast. Catch you then.
You've been listening to the Today's Mama podcast with Rachael Hersher. To find out more, go to todaysmama.com. That's todaysmama.com. Today's Mama, connecting moms and families with the best of today.